Just a month ago, I was telling everyone the same thing. Dude, why are you even looking at AM4? That's yesterday's tech. Build on AM5, it's the only way to be future proof. Sounded logical, right? It was. But today, in December of 25, I'm looking at the prices on Newegg and Amazon, and, well, things are not that simple anymore. The market has completely flipped on its head. DDR5 memory has skyrocketed to the moon following a massive chip shortage. And suddenly, the platforms we were calling obsolete junk have become the only life raft for your budget. That's right, AM4 and LGA 1700. These are the pensioner platforms. But when a last gen motherboard, CPU, and RAM combo costs the same as a single kit of DDR5, this is no time for snobbery. Today, we're going to figure out which CPUs are actually worth buying in late 2025 to play all the new releases without having to live on ramen noodles for the next 6 months. We'll go through every segment, from ultra budget builds to the high end luxury tier where price doesn't matter. One important note. In this video, we are only looking at the market for new hardware. My name is Danyar, this is Pixel PC. Alright, let's start at the very bottom. The scenario, your budget is so tight that every single dollar counts. What do? You could go hunting on eBay for a used Xeon, but if you want new hardware with a warranty and no headaches, we have two heroes that simply refuse to retire. Candidate number 1, the Intel Core i3 Tizen 100F. Yes, only 4 cores. In 2025, that sounds like a death sentence. But let's be real. It costs around $70, $80, and when paired with a basic H-series motherboard and cheap DDR4 RAM, it can run literally every modern game. Not at ultra settings, not in 4K, of course. But for 1080p gaming with a card like an RTX 4050 or RX 8500, it's a solid combo. And if you spend a little more on a B760 motherboard, you get a decent upgrade path. You could drop a 13400 or even a 14600 in there later. But you have to remember, it's still 4 cores. Have one greedy process running in the background and you'll immediately see stutters and frame time spikes. This isn't an i7. Candidate number 2, the Ryzen 5 5500. It costs about the same, but gives you 6 cores and 12 threads. Sounds way better, right? Not so fast? The architecture here is older, it has less cache than its bigger brother, the 5600, and it's only on PCIe Gen 3. But if you need to do more than just gaming, if you're streaming, recording, or working, those extra cores make a huge difference. Personally, I'd lean towards the AM4 platform here because even a cheap motherboard can handle an upgrade to a 5700X 3D or 5800X 3D down the line. CPUs that are cool, efficient, and still incredibly capable today. You can't pull off that same trick with a cheap Intel board. But what if you can stretch your budget by just another $30? The situation changes completely. We enter the sweet spot. On one side, the Ryzen 5 5600. What's the difference from the 5500, you ask? First, twice the L3 cache. For games like CS2, Valorant, or Warzone, this is critical. Your FPS becomes way more stable, and those annoying micro stutters disappear. Second, you get full-fat PCIe 4.0. If you're buying a modern budget GPU like a 4060 or an RX 7600, most of which have limited PCIe lanes, this actually matters. You'll lose performance on Gen 3, but Gen 4 unlocks the card's full potential. And like I said, AM4 is like Legos. Start with a 5600 now, and in a couple of years, swap it for a 5700X 3D without changing anything else. On the other side of the ring, the i5 and 12400F. It's the direct competitor. Same 6 cores, 12 threads. In games, they trade blows. But again, the upgrade path is the issue. Yes, the socket supports up to the 14th gen, but to run a 12400F, any cheap board is fine. To upgrade to a 14600K later without your motherboard's power delivery bursting into flames, you need to buy a more expensive motherboard from the start. Still, either of these CPUs is more than enough to pair with something like a future RTX 5060, giving you a great 1080p experience for years. Okay, but let's say you have the budget. You want to build a PC for tomorrow, not for yesterday. You want to just swap the CPU in 3 years and be done. Here, we have an undisputed king, the people's champion for over a year now. Of course, it's the Ryzen 5 7500F. The chip itself is magnificent. 6 fast Zen 4 cores. It's cool, it's powerful, and it can easily handle a GPU like an RTX 5070. Hell, it could even push an RTX 5080 in 4K. But it's here we walk right into the trap I mentioned at the start, the memory. The 7500F only works with DDR5. And in late 2025, DDR5 is a very expensive luxury. Funnily enough, AM5 motherboards now cost about the same as AM4 boards. If it weren't for the damn RAM, we could all forget about AM4, pay a little extra for AM5, and be happy. In the end, a 7500F build will cost you about $150 more than a $5,600 build. Is it worth it? If you're building from scratch and want it to last, absolutely yes. AM5 is a living platform that AMD has promised to support for years. It's your insurance against obsolescence. But again, if the budget is tight, you will get more gaming FPS by putting that extra money towards a better GPU paired with a 5600. And finally, the top tier. For those who don't look at price tags, only at performance. Here, the choice is stark. There are no all-rounders. You have to pick a side. If you are a pure gamer and your goal is 500 FPS in Counter-Strike or a perfectly smooth 4K image with an RTX 5090, your choice is the Ryzen 7 9800X 3D. It is the absolute gaming king today. The 3D V-Cache technology is pure magic. Where other CPUs choke, this one holds a perfectly flat line. But do not buy this for professional work. In video editing or 3D rendering, it turns into a pumpkin. The clock speeds are lower, the cache doesn't help, and you're just throwing money away. If you need raw power for work, your entry point for serious productivity is the Intel Core i7 14700K or the Ryzen 9 7950X. Intel has the advantage in core count, 20 cores, even with E-cores, and slightly more stable performance in Adobe software. AMD offers pure multi-threaded might, with 16 full-performance cores that chew through renders like it's nothing. Just be warned, you can't just slap an air cooler on these, especially the Intel chip. You'll need a serious AIO. Briefly addressing Core Ultra. Wait, I hear you say, what about Core Ultra? Does anyone actually consider buying those for a desktop? The chips themselves aren't bad, but they're expensive and offer zero performance uplift in games. Architecturally, it's a step forward for Intel, but it means very little for us right now. And with Intel's future roadmap looking so uncertain, investing in that new socket feels like a risky bet. So let's recap. 2025 has taught us one main lesson. Don't chase what's new just because it's new. Marketers will scream at you about AI cores and new sockets, but the truth is, the old DDR4 veterans can still handle 90% of tasks for half the price. If your budget is tight, do not hesitate to build on a 2400F or a Ryzen 5600. That is a solid foundation that will get you through any market craziness. If you have money to invest in the future, the 7500F and AM5 is your platform. And if you want the absolute best, well, get your wallet ready. Here at Pixel PC, we're constantly watching the market to update our build guides. You can check them all out on our website. And of course, shoot us a message. We'll help you pick the best configuration for your budget so you don't have to go through the headache of figuring all this out. This was Danyar with Pixel PC. See you in the next one.